Welcome to the Seeker's Hollow. I'm Brian, and welcome back to Dolmenwood. This is going to be episode 4 of our playthrough as the Hunters of the Aldweald. And speaking of hunting, we had our first time hunting in the last episode. We ended up tracking 7 gelatinous apes, and they're not really that tough, I think in small numbers, but 7 was a little bit too much for us to deal with. And we took quite a bit of damage and we had to run, had to flee there. And I'm not entirely sure if I played all that correctly there with the combat and in the fleeing. I tried to make my best sense of what the rules were saying as far as fleeing went. I'm going to try to keep track of the turns and rounds and initiative a little bit more closely next time, because when there's we have 3 player characters and 7 apes, so we had 10 things to track, and it's quite a bit to track, along with doing all the rules and adjudicating everything as the game master. So I will try to keep a little bit better track next time, but hopefully we might have some smaller scale battles too, which will make things a little bit easier. And we kind of got a sense of the strength of this party, and we do have the ability to dish out some damage for sure, but everybody has pretty low HP, so especially like for like Samwise and Loblo, who might be more in the fray, they really need to be a little bit tougher to survive more of those hits that they got to soak up as more like frontline type of fighters, even though Hunter is kind of a hybrid really. But yeah, they just don't have enough HP, so we're probably not going to do any more hunting until we level up, at least with Samwise and Loblo. So probably going to be doing more foraging, things like that. Now they are making some steady progress toward level up. I think right now everyone has around 800 something experience. We actually got 80 experience for the 4 gelatinous apes that we were able to kill. Unfortunately, we didn't get any rations from them because we had to flee and we couldn't find any. We did an oracle roll and couldn't find any. But yeah, so we definitely need to level up to get a little bit more HP going on before we engage in more combat. But one good thing about hunting though is that when you do a successful tracking roll, you do have a ambush situation. So I suppose at that point, once you discovered how many creatures you're going to be dealing with, you could go ahead and then sort of retreat or just sort of let them pass possibly at that point, as long as they don't detect you. So maybe something like a stealth roll, or maybe just do some kind of a reaction roll or something like that. But at least you would have the option of maybe letting them pass unknown to them, since they really don't know you're there. All right, so I also do need to make sure that I count off 2 short bow arrows, because we used 2 arrows, and that was on Loblo's character sheet. So I'll make sure I get those off. So he's going to be down to 18 arrows. And also Loblo and Samwise, they have no rations, so we definitely want to camp right now. We spent the entire day for our camping, or sorry, for our hunting, which gave us a +2 bonus. So now we've used up the whole day, and we certainly want to camp because we've only got 1 HP on Loblo and on 7, and then Sam only has 3 HP, and we can recover 1 HP during the night. So probably what we'll do is we'll camp, and hopefully everything goes successfully with that. And then then the next day we'll probably just do something like foraging to try to get some rations back. And we are going to suffer a penalty the next day, which is going to be the 3rd. We will suffer a penalty for not having any rations for those 2. And so today, as today draws to close, we're gonna camp, and this is day 2 of Chime in the early spring, the Simswald, week 1. And this actually is a Yeah, and I've marked off that we went to Hex, that we visited Hex 1206, and we got the experience for that. And so yeah, this day, the week 1 of Simswald, the second chime is the Feast of Cats. And I read about that feast, and it says that a lot of people will wear a cat mask, and kind of like look like cats. And I'm guessing the Grimalkin are probably quite popular on that day. I would assume, since they're all cats. So I'm not sure how the Grimalkin feel about it, but yeah, if we were in Prigwar, we might see a lot of people having festivities and wearing cat masks and playing as cats and things like that. But we are just on the road, so maybe we see some people passing by on the road wearing cat masks, possibly for the Feast of Cats today. All right, so let's set up our camp. We're going to have one person is going to set up the camp, and then we'll have 2 people collect firewood. And that's going to be 7 pieces of firewood, which I think what I'm going to do for the firewood is, as long as we have enough for half of the night, I'll consider it a success. Because I haven't found an exact rule about how many hours of firewood is necessarily required, or if there's any penalty for not having the amount of firewood. So I guess what I'll do is, if we have 4 hours, if we have fewer than 4 hours of firewood, then I'll count it as we have no firewood. And so you would get, that would possibly make your camping more difficult. But anyway, we've got 7 pieces of firewood. And also, I noticed in episode 2 and 3, the dice tray here was a little bit off the camera, so apologies for that. It should be a little bit easier to see. I've adjusted the camera so that it should be in the camera now, and I'll just remember to kind of keep it lined up with the end of the map here to ensure that it's on the camera. So apologies for that, but it should be okay now. And so now we could do a cooking roll, and that could help us to get a little bit more experience, since we are giving 50 experience for cooking. So let's do a cooking roll now. And so Samwise seems to be our resident chef, given that he has the highest wisdom. So we just need to roll we need to hit a 4 or higher, but with his bonus we just need to hit I believe a 2 or higher. All right, so let's roll Samwise's ability check, and yeah, he needs a 4 or higher normally, but he has a +2 bonus, so he's just going to need a 2 or higher, and that is a 2, so that'll give him a 4. And I think I might have rolled that wrong. I might have set that as a skill check before. When skill check has a target of 6, but ability check has a target of 4. So I feel like I might have rolled that wrong previously, at least once. But yeah, so we will successfully cook. Unfortunately, we only have enough food for one person to eat. But we will get a little bit of experience for that, and the party can enjoy a little bit nicer meal. And then we can also do a ability check for charisma for camaraderie. And I think the party could certainly use a successful camaraderie roll here after a long day. So we just need to get a 3 or better. And unfortunately, we only got a 2. So I don't think we've actually succeeded at the camaraderie so far. But we did succeed on the cooking. And we will get 50 experience points for that, which I will tally up at the end of the session. And now we're going to go into the nighttime, and the characters are going to go about their watch rotation, and we need to check for a random encounter. And this is going to be, I believe, a 2 out of 6 on the encounter here in this hex. And one thing is that some hexes actually have special encounter rules, so it's always worth looking at the actual hex page in the campaign book when you are doing a random encounter check. So we have a 2 in 6 chance. Nighttime encounters are 2 in 6 likely to be with the ghost of Duodort of Smyrn. So that's a special rule that we'd have there. So we're kind of hoping that we don't get an encounter unless, of course, it's a peaceful one. And we got a 2, so that is going to be an encounter. And then I guess if we roll again and get a 1 or a 2, then we would have Duodort of Smyrn as the encounter, and that is a 5. So that's not going to be him or whoever that is. But we are going to have an encounter for this region here, and we need to look at what encounter we have in this region. So we are in the Aldweald here. So we're going to see what type of encounter we're going to have, and this is a nighttime encounter, and we do have a fire. So first it's going to be rolling for the encounter type, which is going to be a D8 roll. And that is a 1, which is going to be a monster. And that's probably not good, not something that we want. So we're going to roll on the monster table here. A common encounter with a monster. And this is going to be a D20 roll. And we've come up with a 5, which is going to be a griffin. And there will be 2 D8 griffins. And I think we are going to want to run away from this almost for sure. Let's see. Wow, that would be 8 griffins. So that's very bad. Let's see what we got going on next here. So we've got 8 griffins, and I think we definitely want to run away, but we need to determine the surprise level, and we're going to roll a 1d6 for each side, and they're surprised on 1 or a 2. So we can hope that they are surprised. The griffins are going to be red. And okay, neither side is surprised. Both sides are fully aware. Except for the fact that this is nighttime, so maybe some of our characters are actually sleeping due to that. Yeah, so all characters that are asleep are automatically surprised. So now I don't know exactly who was asleep because I didn't really pick an order on how that was going to go, but we might want to say that maybe Loblo was awake and on watch, because I think he might get a little bit of a bonus here being a hunter with his awareness roll. So maybe that can help him out. Okay, so the way alertness would work is that he could make an alertness check to act normally in the surprised round. Okay, so if he's the one who is awake, then that's really not going to help because he'll already be awake. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just roll a 1d6. 1 to 2 will be Samwise, and 3 to 4 will be Loblo, and 5 to 6 will be 7, and that will determine who was awake at the start of the encounter. So a 6, so that's going to indicate that 7 was the one who was awake. So that would mean that Samwise and Loblo would be surprised, but Loblo would have a chance to roll an awareness check. So let's roll an awareness check for him. But he has to roll a 6. And he got a 6. Okay. So right now only Samwise is surprised right now. And that's still very bad because we've got what is it, 6 griffins here, or was it 8 griffins? I can't even remember how many griffins it was. We've got at least 6 griffins that are coming after us right now, and we still have 1 character who is asleep. So that's going to be pretty bad. We do need to determine the distance of how far away they are, And I believe at night you also have a shorter distance as well. Okay, so the distance is going to be 2d6 times 30, so let's roll that. And we got a 7, so it's going to be 210 feet away. So luckily that does give us some distance that they are away from us. So we need to determine how much space the griffins can cover. But I guess we can also see on the disposition of the griffins, because maybe they are not wanting to attack necessarily. So let's roll for a reaction roll here with the griffins and see what their disposition is. And that is a 4, which means that they are hostile and they may attack. So they're not necessarily going straight for us to kill us as fast as possible, but they are certainly not friendly by any means, and any wasted time would probably result in us being attacked. So let's see how far the griffins can actually move in a round, seeing as we're 210 feet away. Okay, so griffins are actually animals, which is a bit strange that they're on the monster table, but okay. So we've got a griffin going after us. I guess that's going to be, that looks like a griffin right there. And the griffin is a large, rapacious predator with the body of a lion and the head and wings and claws of an eagle. So maybe that's a hawk there. And they can prey on horses and those who ride them. And they're level 7. And their speed is 40, so they can move pretty fast, and their fly is 120. So they can easily, they probably can't get to us this round, but they can definitely get to us next round if they are indeed flying. And these can actually be tamed, which would be something very cool to have. But of course, you would need to be at least level 7 to have that as a companion for your hunter. So we're definitely not going to attack these, and we are definitely going to want to run away. And because it's not clear if they are attacking us, I think this would be a good time to do an oracle roll, and we'll just do a yes or no question. Are they going to attack us? Because it seems like they are hostile, but they're not entirely decided what they're doing. And that is a very strong no. We got a 1, 2, 3 no there. So given that their disposition on our reaction roll is hostile, I guess that would mean that if we were to do anything at all to anger them or to threaten them, they would attack us immediately on sight. But in this case, they are absolutely not going to attack us as long as we simply walk away, which is what we are definitely going to do. So we are going to flee the area, and they are definitely not going to attack us, again, assuming that we do not do anything to press the issue here. So we have fled from the area, and I don't know if that is going to cause a disruption to our rest during the night for the camping. So let me see if there is any disruption caused for that. All right, well, I'm not seeing anything specifically about the disruption of sleep due to a nighttime encounter, but I think it would only make sense that it would be a pretty serious disruption to the sleep, especially since they had to run away from their campsite. So I think we'll just play that they did not get a good night's rest. And then on top of that, both Loblo and Samwise did not get to eat any food. So we're in a pretty bad way here. And I think the only thing that we can really do that's reasonable right now would be to go back to Prigwort here on day 3. So we're going to start day 3 now. And we are still alive, thankfully. And we're still in Hex 1206, just kind of on the road there. And let's see what we have on the calendar for day 3. Day 3 is Haim, and this is the Feast of Saint Mediger. And we do need to roll for weather now. Let's see what our weather is going to be today. And that's a 2. And that's going to give us what kind of weather. In spring, it'll be chilly and damp, and it's also wet. So when it is wet, it is harder to build a campfire. And hopefully we are going to make it back to Prigwort into the safety of the inn, and we won't need to worry about building a campfire tonight, hopefully. So the weather is, what was that, cold and damp? Chilly and damp. Or no, actually that's wrong. That is cold and gentle snow. Okay, so we even have a little bit of snow going on today. So a light blanket of snow is falling in the area, and the effect of that is that we have wet. So we really don't want to be out camping tonight, especially in the snow. So we are certainly going to make our way back to Prigwort, and that should take us 4 hours of travel to go the 6 miles by the road. So if we say we started at, I guess we'll say they had a little bit of a late morning due to having to run away. So let's say they started at 8 a.m. and then they're going to make it back to Prigwort by noon. And so we are back in Prigwort, and I think we will go probably back to the Clashed Antler to spend the night there. So let's bring up Prigwort here. And so let's see what options we have for a room here. This is going to be an inn of common quality. So that'll tell us what kind of options we have for how much we're going to be paying for staying here. We're definitely going to do full days of rest. So we'll stay the first night, and then the next day we can do a full day of rest. So we're going to need to stay 2 nights in the inn. So we'll want to find something that's fairly economical, because we are pretty low on funds, and we also need to buy rations as well. All right, so looking here at the common lodgings, we could sleep on the floor of the common room for 5 copper. And considering that we need to do it for 2 nights, that is certainly something we might consider. That would be 1 silver to do that. Or we could stay in the shared rooms, and we'd be looking at nearly 1 gold for each. Well, actually, the shared room has 2 beds, so maybe we can have, well, it would be nice if the shared room has 3 beds. So I guess we're going to do the common room floor. So that's going to be 1 silver for each of our adventurers here. And let's take a look at how much that's going to be. And then we're also going to need 2 main dishes, 1 for each day as well. So that's going to be a total of 1.6 silver for each character. Okay, so Samwise is going to go down to 9 gold and 4 silver, and Loblo has got 1 gold and 4 silver, and 7 has 5 gold and 4 silver, and that's after paying for the lodgings for 2 days, as well as a main dish for 2 days. And So the first night, we're going to pass the first night, and everyone will heal 1 hit point. So that means that Sam is going to be now fully back to full health. And then we've got 2 hit points left to heal for Loblo and 7. And then after our full day of rest on the second night, we'll roll a 1d3 to see how that goes. But during the next day, so we're going to go into day 4 here, we're definitely going to want to go buy some rations because we are really low on food. So let's roll for weather here on day 4. That's a 12. And that might be some crazy weather, possibly. That is a chill mist. And there's poor visibility, and counter distance is halved, and we have a plus 1 in 6 chance of getting lost if we're traveling in the wild. So we will have encounters here. We've got I think it's a 2 in 6 chance of an encounter as we if we come out of the inn and travel around in the town, which we will be doing shortly. And so we will have a half encounter distance on that. So a chill mist affecting the visibility. So a chilly and misty day in Prigwort. And let's see where we can go in Prigwort to buy some adventuring gear or rations. Who do we have in here? We could probably go to the tavern, I suppose. So let's see what it says about the tavern. The tavern is the Oaf in the Oast Tavern and Baths, an old Oast house converted into a heaving tavern affiliated with House Ogsbody. The exterior walls are coated in once bright primary colors, now obscured by layers of thick varnish. Outside are various terracotta pots fashioned as hog-like creatures, trailing a riot of brittle vines and dead flowers. And the sign is a drunken bumpkin, obviously scratching his behind, as a fire kindles beneath his nethers. So that's a pretty nice sign there. And let's see what kind of services they've got. They have common quality foods. They have Hegged's Bitter, which is a special drink, a beer. And then they have baths as well, which costs a little bit of money depending on what kind of bath you want to get. But I don't see anything about being able to buy rations. I guess it would make sense that you could buy rations at an inn or at a tavern. And now it does say that mounts and hounds are only available at the market on Collie, which would be on Monday. But yeah, I'm not really sure how to play that, but it does make sense that you would be able to buy rations pretty much any day of the week, because there's obviously going to be a lot of different people that are going to need them for different reasons, and beyond just having the market one day of the week. Now, if we were trying to buy a bunch of adventuring gear and things like that, I think it might make more sense that it's only on the special market day. But yeah, so I'll just say that we can buy normal rations. Now today is moot, and there is a market on Frisk. But yeah, we'll just we'll say that we can buy some rations. So let's take a look. We're gonna buy some rations from the Clashed Antler, where we currently are. So we actually don't need to go out, and we don't need to roll for any kind of encounter, because we're not going to leave the inn. So rations are going to be 2 gold for each. So we're going to need to spend, how many rations do we want to get here? So we would probably like to get 5 rations, which is going to cost 10 gold. And I think we could just take, we could take 6 from Samwise, and we could take 4 from 7. So we'll go ahead and do that. So 7 is going to go down to 1 gold. And Samwise is going to go down to 3 gold. And now everyone is back to the initial rations that we had. And we're going to have to hope for some more success. And I am thinking about making that preserving skill roll a little less punishing. Maybe on a failure you get half of the rations instead of all of them being destroyed, or all but one being destroyed. Because we would have actually got... that first foraging would have actually given us 5 rations, but because we failed the preserving roll, we only got to keep 1. So, yeah, I think I'll do that. I think for the preserving roll, it's going to be, if you fail, you get half rations, and if you succeed, you get to preserve all the rations. But now we've got all, everyone has 2 preserved rations and is ready to go. Once again, now we're gonna go through the day 4 is a full day of rest, and then we'll get into day 5. And day 5 is Frisk, and we're still in Hex 1106, which is Prigwort, and we're gonna roll for weather again here, and that's a 4. 4 is going to be a windy and cloudy day, but there's no special effect there. So windy and cloudy. So usually seems to be kind of cloudy in Dolmenwood. And now we can roll for recovery of hit points. Each person can recover 1d3, but we only need 2 people to recover. And that's going to be a 2 and a 1. So we'll say that Low Blow recovered 2 and Samwise recovered 1. So that puts Low Blow back at full health because he was down to 2. And and then 7, she is back. She is down by 1. So I think we'll update her sheet here, because we're not going to stay and rest another night. We are going to go out. We are going to go out and go back hunting and foraging and all of those things. So she's just going to be down to 3. And all right, so everybody had a good rest in the town. We were able to recover some hit points and get recharged, get some rations back, and now we can head back out, and hopefully we have a little bit better luck. We have a better sense of how powerful our party is, and generally speaking, they're not very powerful at this point, but they are getting pretty close to maybe getting to level 2, and that's what we really need to do to be able to survive. We really need to get to level 2, so we'll probably just head back out. Maybe we'll go into Hex 1005 here, and we could do some fishing in there, and that would also give us another hex that we've entered and give us some experience as well. So that might be the way to go, even though we would have liked to have been able to go into 1306 and collect some of those herbs that the herbalist told us about, but we might have to delay that for the time being, and maybe just go over here and do some fishing and foraging, and definitely avoid hunting. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this episode. So we'll probably do that when we come back next time, and I'll see you then. Take care.